Welcome to Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. In this video, I will answer if you need a windscreen for your convertible. Now, I've had several convertibles, including a small Z3, and I've gone without a windscreen, I've gone with a windscreen, so I really hope that I can help you pick out the right windscreen for this convertible season. Now, which windscreen should you get? I'm gonna help you out with that. And what are the pros and cons of each model, from installation to durability, all the way to wind noise and turbulence? I'm gonna cover all that. I'm gonna be covering which model will make the family happy versus which model might make you happier if you're just on your own. Now, I'll also cover where you can buy your windscreen. And this time I will do the whole video from inside the car to show and prove what you can get with a windscreen or wind deflector. So I hope you enjoy the video. I hope this is helpful and useful. And as always, if you want to help me out, please like and subscribe. It helps the video get out there. Help me out, help more people see this video. I really want this video to be useful because I went years without a windscreen thinking it didn't make much of a difference, and boy, was I ever wrong. Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. So today I'm gonna be covering the windscreen. Now, I've covered this before, but after having used it for over a summer and having had not just the plastic windscreen that you see right here, but after having had the mesh windscreen for multiple summers, I really would like to cover the points that I have in regards to the plastic windscreen, how I really prefer it. Do you need a windscreen in a convertible? I'd say absolutely, definitely yes, 100%. It allows you to have space in the back seat. So if you have kids, it will cut the wind for them somewhat. Or if you have, friends, you can put another couple in the back seat, or, the wifey's friends. And what's great? I've talked about this when talking about Mustangs before, that there are some advantages to having the 10-speed automatic transmission. If you have a Mustang, it shifts faster than pretty much any human. So it's got really lightning fast gear shifting. And if you've had a few beverages in the afternoon or at dinner, well, the wifey can drive. Now, I know, of course, there's a lot of fantastic drivers out there that are both male and female, and driving a manual with a clutch has nothing to do with gender, but I would say that while there's a lot of fantastic drivers for both genders, you just got to admit that there are quite a few girlfriends and wives that can absolutely drive fantastically an automatic transmission, but not so great a manual. So that's the issue that I had in the past. The wifey could not drive my manual Mustang. We tried a few times. There was a lot of stalling and a lot of pain involved in the process. So here we go. That's a strong point for the 10-speed transmission, other than being lightning fast. And of course, with a Mustang, you have those drive modes down here. So you can always just change the drive mode and have the shift points completely be modified for a more aggressive or more comfortable, fuel-efficient drive. So windscreen, why is it a must? You can see, the windows are down here. We don't even have to have the side windows up. They're completely down. We're doing about 70 kilometers an hour, and there's absolutely no issue. There's next to no wind. Now on the highway, we could easily do, 65 miles per hour on the highway and not have any issues driving with the windows down. Of course, if you want to go above 65 miles per hour, I would recommend putting the windows up, but right around 70 miles per hour and less, it's just a great time with the windows down. The windscreen is a must. I'd say it must cut about 95% of the wind coming in the vehicle. I have the windows down. I'm not going to play around with the sound in this video to cover outside wind. I want this to sound natural. And right now we're doing more around 50 miles per hour. And the hair is barely in the wind. Not only do they kind of look cool, especially if you get a plastic wind deflector that has an electrical connection to have that pony light up, but whatever your convertible may be, really recommend it. Makes the drive fantastic, and I wouldn't have a convertible without it. So now 50 mile per hour driving with the windows up, and it really cuts down the wind. Now when we had the windows down, I'd say there was a bit of wind coming in, not much, maybe 15%, 15-20%. Very bearable, very enjoyable. You get a nice breeze on a hot day, but with the windows up, that's when we're cutting back 95% of the wind. Now if we had a mesh, the mesh back there, the mesh models cover the whole back seat. You essentially lose your back seat, and that's one of the perks of having a 4-seater Mustang. You can have friends, you can go out to dinner together, you can put the kids in the back, and you know, for kids, since they're going to be well below that windbreak line, they're going to have a lot of wind cut off for them. Now the only downside, you know, you can see there's barely any wind here, but the only downside with that plastic windscreen or windbreak is that it gets scratched up easily. I'll do some close-up photos before, but it gets marked up. It's hard to clean and keep clean. When you clean it, it's likely gonna scratch up. If anyone knows any tricks to cleaning plastic and has a windscreen and doesn't have any scratches on it after, you know, a full summer of use, please throw in your tips and tricks. That's what the comment section's there for. Really appreciate it. It's community here. We know the goal is that we all try to help each other out. Now, it's great having the wind in the hair. It's one of the things I'm really excited about the Ford Bronco. And, you know, even the Pooch approves of the windscreen. He gets just the right amount of wind in his little toupee that he's got going on. A little Mustang GT sound. Now, if you're considering buying a Mustang GT or renting one, try to get one with the active exhaust. That's fantastic. You won't wake up your neighbors at 2 a.m. because there's a silence mode. And you can also put it in track mode and have the exhaust be extremely loud. It's not going to sound like a bomb going off. You're going to be loud and proud. Everyone will know you've got a 5-liter Mustang. A few more positive points for the plastic windscreen is that you do have extremely easy installation. It's 4 little bolts that you screw in, and then you get to keep it there in place for the rest of the life of the vehicle until you know, if you're like me, until you sell it 1 year later or less. Hopefully you can, you know, I do love Mustangs, don't get me wrong. I tend to switch a Mustang for anything else, and I've tried different convertibles, and I always come back to the Mustang. So if you haven't tried one out, I encourage you trying one out. Yeah, the family loves the sound of a GT. I've had the EcoBoost 2.3 liter and it goes great. But yeah, that plastic windscreen is fantastic. You're not losing your back seats. You've got a really easy install. And of course, when you've got the mesh windscreen, it covers the whole back area. And in covering the back area, you don't have use to the back area unless you remove the windscreen. Then, you know, you gotta store it in your apartment or garage or house. And it's just not nearly as convenient. But you know what? If you are thinking, you know, if you are trying to decide on whether you need a windscreen, I'd say it's a must-have. And if you do go with the mesh windscreen, because, you know, it is going to look good, a lot better long term. It's not going to get scratched up like the clear plastic. And, you know, a trick for the clear plastic is right from the beginning, you could tint it if you have your windows tinted. Tint it all the same color. It'll kind of give it a protective film, and so you'll see the scratches less. But surprisingly, the mesh screens are just as effective. So if you're leaning more towards mesh windscreen, and you know, the only reason you're considering the plastic was thinking that you'd get less wind in the vehicle. I've had both, and I had the mesh screen for must have been 2-3 summers easily, and I really do not notice a difference in the amount of wind that comes into the vehicle. In other words, the mesh screen does the job, and it's gonna look good a lot longer and perform just as well as the plastic. You know, no hair in the flapping around in the eyes. Everyone's happy, everyone's comfortable and just enjoying the ride. So just a little demonstration of what it would sound like if we didn't have the windscreen. So huge difference between windscreen and no windscreen. You're gonna have less wind. You're gonna get, instead of hearing the wind in your ears, you're gonna hear the engine. You're still gonna feel like you're part of, you're outside, you're part of nature. You're gonna have a blast. Highly recommend it. Well worth the money. And I would definitely get the plastic windscreen. So little wind in the inside of your car that if you got a little baby dog, he'll fall right asleep. So in conclusion, this is definitely girlfriend or wifey approved. Anyone with long hair, the windscreen's a must have. Now, is it pooch approved or dog approved? I'd say no. Winston was finding the ride relatively boring and fell asleep. He really likes having a whole lot of wind in his hair, so it wasn't quite what he wanted. And if I had to comment, that dog carrier was also maybe not pooch approved either. He after waking up, he wanted to get out of that and put his face in the wind. So your pooch won't be happy, but the family will. Get the windscreen, it's great. No complaints. So you can see in the video that my windscreen is scratched up, doesn't look the greatest after over a year of use, but mine is not a Ford Accessories. It's just a cheap plastic. It was cheap in price and cheap in durability. So, that raises the question. If you don't have kids, if you don't have friends that are gonna go in the back, the mesh windscreen is great. It's super durable and it won't make noise as you hit bumps and go into the corners. Unlike a plastic, or ideally acrylic plastic or glass windscreen, which does look great without the roll bar. But if you get a mesh windscreen, I do suggest the roll bar for look. And if you go with acrylic or glass, well, you can get your pony that lights up, which just looks really cool. Let me know in the comments which windscreen you prefer, and I hope this has been useful, helpful, and informative. And if it has been, please like and subscribe. That really helps me out. So does watching the video to the end. So thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep the pedal to the metal. And I wish you all more cars and more power.